First Contact's Price. Dr. Elena Reyes stood before the United Earth Council, her hand steady despite the weight of what she was about to propose. The quantum detection arrays had picked up the signals 3 months ago. Massive vessels approaching the Kuiper Belt, their energy signatures unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Distinguished members of the Council, she began, her voice echoing through the underground chamber beneath Geneva. The consortium's arrival isn't a surprise. We've been detecting their long-range scans for the past decade. What we do next will determine humanity's future for centuries to come. The holographic displays showed the approaching fleet. Over 300 ships, each larger than anything humanity had officially built. Officially being the key word. They believe we're primitive, Elena continued. Their scans show exactly what we want them to see. A species barely capable of reaching Mars, struggling with basic fusion technology, squabbling over dwindling resources. They see our public face, the carefully maintained illusion we've presented to the cosmos for the past 50 years. Council President Chen leaned forward. And you believe we should maintain this deception? Absolutely. Elena gestured, and new images appeared. Massive underground complexes beneath every continent, quantum computing arrays that could process more data in a second than most civilizations could in a year, antimatter production facilities that could power 1,000 worlds. The consortium absorbs or destroys every civilization they encounter. Those who resist openly are crushed. Those who submit become vassals. But they've never encountered a species that deliberately hid its true capabilities. The room fell silent as Elena revealed humanity's true technological achievements. The quantum fold drives that could cross galaxies in moments, the consciousness transfer technology that made death optional for those who chose it, the ability to manipulate fundamental forces that the consortium's scientists believed impossible to control. For 50 years, we've maintained the greatest deception in human history, Elena said. Every public launch failure was choreographed. Every apparent technological limitation was carefully calculated. We learned from history. The most dangerous predator is the one that appears to be prey. Admiral Sarah Chen, no relation to the president, stepped forward. The defense grid is ready. We've seeded the entire solar system with quantum-shifted platforms, invisible until activated. The Dyson swarms are complete, though they appear as simple debris to outside observers, and Project Prometheus is operational. No one spoke the true nature of Project Prometheus aloud. Some weapons were too terrible to name. We give them one warning, Elena proposed. One chance to turn back, not because we fear them, but because despite our strength, we haven't lost our humanity. We warn them because it's right, even though we know they won't listen. The council deliberated for less than an hour, a record for such a momentous decision. The vote was unanimous. 2 days later, a simple message was broadcast on all frequencies the consortium used. Stay away from Earth. This is your only warning. As expected, the consortium's response came quickly. Their automated probes accelerated toward Earth, broadcasting messages of peace and upliftment that couldn't quite hide their patronizing tone. They spoke of sharing technology, of joining the galactic community, of ending humanity's primitive isolation. Elena watched from the quantum control center deep beneath the Himalayas as the probes approached. Each scan they performed showed exactly what humanity wanted them to see. Primitive fission rockets, basic orbital stations, the struggling attempts of a young species to reach for the stars. They're launching their first contact protocols, Admiral Chen reported. Their main fleet will arrive in 6 months. They expect us to be awed by their technology, grateful for their intervention. Elena nodded, thinking of the generations of humans who had maintained this deception, who had built humanity's true civilization in secret while presenting a carefully crafted mask to the cosmos. Send word to all facilities. Maintain the illusion until the last possible moment. Let them think us children until they learn why adults fear the dark. As the probes transmitted their findings back to the consortium fleet, humanity continued its preparations. In secret laboratories, weapons that defied physics were readied. In hidden shipyards, vessels that could tear apart space itself waited in quantum lock. And in countless facilities across the solar system, the greatest defensive network ever created stood silent, waiting for the moment to reveal that humanity's warning hadn't been a plea for mercy. It had been mercy itself. The ancient saying went that pride comes before a fall. The consortium's pride would bring them across the solar system's edge, ignoring humanity's single warning. And in doing so, they would learn why some species choose to appear weak while building strength in shadow. The game was set. The pieces were in motion, and humanity's long preparation for this moment would soon bear fruit in ways the consortium couldn't imagine. The Silent Shield. Captain Vexlar of the consortium scout vessel Truth Seeker was puzzled. For the third time in as many solar cycles, his sensors had detected impossible energy spikes from the Sol system. Yet every time his crew investigated, they found nothing but primitive human vessels burning chemical fuel and basic solar collectors. "Run the temporal scan again," he ordered, all four of his eye stalks focused on the main display. "There has to be an explanation for these readings." His science officer, careful, complied without complaint, though they'd performed this same scan dozens of times. Energy signature detected at coordinates 43 to 6791. And it's gone again, just like the others. "Sir, these readings suggest power usage greater than our largest stellar harvesters, but it's impossible. The humans are barely managing sustained fusion reactions in their laboratories." Deep beneath Europa's icy surface, Dr. Elena Reyes watched the consortium vessel through quantum-shifted sensors that no known civilization could detect. She allowed herself a small smile as they once again failed to spot the massive energy collectors hidden in plain sight. "Status of the Helios array," she asked, turning to her team. "Operating at full capacity," Lieutenant Zhang reported. "The quantum masking field is performing perfectly. To their sensors, it just looks like a field of space debris and defunct satellites. They have no idea we're harvesting enough energy to power 1,000 worlds." The Helios array was humanity's masterpiece of deception, a Dyson swarm that appeared to be nothing but orbital junk to outside observers. The same technology that hid it from view also concealed the massive shipyards of Mars, the quantum computing centers of Europa, and the antimatter production facilities scattered throughout the asteroid belt. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared in the command center. "The consortium's main fleet has crossed Neptune's orbit. Their trajectory suggests they'll arrive in 3 months, not 6 as originally estimated. They're eager to begin their uplifting of humanity." Elena nodded, unsurprised by the consortium's impatience. "Have they detected any of our real defenses?" "Not a single one," Chen replied with grim satisfaction. "The quantum-shifted platforms remain invisible, the gravity lance emplacements are secure, and Project Prometheus continues to operate undetected. Though," she paused, her expression troubled, "we did have a close call at Outpost Sigma." Elena's attention sharpened. Outpost Sigma, hidden in the Kuiper Belt, was where humanity developed its most advanced weapons. What happened? One of their deep scan probes passed within 1,000 kilometers of the facility. For a moment, they detected an energy spike from our containment fields. But thanks to Dr. Patel's quick thinking, we masked it as a natural phenomenon. A brief surge in the local magnetic field. They bought it, but it was too close. On the main display, the consortium scout vessel continued its methodical survey of the solar system. They were thorough, Elena had to give them that. But they were looking for conventional technology, fusion reactors, matter-antimatter drives, quantum computers. They weren't looking for the impossible, for the technologies humanity had developed in secret over generations. "Message from Lunar Command," Lieutenant Zhang announced. "They're beginning final preparations for Operation Ghostlight." Elena felt a chill despite the carefully regulated temperature. Operation Ghostlight was their last line of deception. A carefully choreographed display of primitive technology designed to convince the consortium that humanity was even less advanced than they initially believed. "Begin the sequence," she ordered. Show them exactly what they expect to see. Across the solar system, humanity's true capabilities remained hidden, while a carefully crafted illusion played out. Rockets with chemical engines launched from Earth, carrying what appeared to be humanity's most advanced technology: crude solar satellites and basic communication arrays. Research stations broadcast discussions about the challenges of achieving stable fusion reactions. Military bases conducted exercises with aircraft that still relied on jet engines. The deception was perfect because it played to the consortium's expectations and their arrogance. They saw what they wanted to see: a young species struggling to reach the stars, ripe for conquest or uplifting into their empire. But beneath the surface of every major body in the solar system, behind quantum shields that made them invisible to even the most advanced sensors, humanity's real civilization hummed with unimaginable power. Ships that could tear holes in reality stood ready in hidden docks. Weapons that could reshape the fundamental forces of the universe waited silently. And in countless secure facilities, the men and women who maintained humanity's greatest deception continued their work, knowing that everything depended on maintaining the illusion for just a little longer. As Elena watched another consortium probe pass blindly by one of their largest antimatter facilities, she thought about the generations of humans who had lived and died maintaining this deception. The children who grew up learning to show one face to the stars while building another in secret. The scientists who published papers on basic fusion research while secretly working on technologies that defy comprehension. 3 months, she whispered to herself. 3 months until they learn the truth. Above her, on Europa's icy surface, the consortium scout ship continued its fruitless search, never realizing that the primitive civilization they were studying was watching their every move, waiting for the moment to reveal that humanity's warning hadn't been a sign of weakness. It had been a chance for survival that the consortium was about to ignore. Breaking point. High Admiral Kexthor stood on the bridge of the consortium flagship, Eternal Dawn, watching as the massive fleet approached the inner solar system. Earth grew larger on the main display, a blue jewel that would soon be another precious stone in the consortium's crown. Final analysis of human defensive capabilities, he asked, mandibles clicking with barely contained anticipation. His strategic officer brought up a detailed hologram of Earth's known military assets. Primitive, High Admiral. Chemical rockets, basic kinetic weapons, crude nuclear devices. Their most advanced ships use ion propulsion and can barely reach their 4th planet. They're even more primitive than our initial estimates suggested. Kexthor felt something close to disappointment. He'd hoped the humans would provide at least some challenge. Their warning to stay away had suggested hidden strength, but months of careful observation had revealed nothing but technological infancy. Prepare the upliftment protocol, he ordered. Standard procedure for pre-spacefaring civilizations. Deep within Pluto base, the Lina Rays watched the consortium fleets approach with cold calculation. The enemy vessels were exactly where humanity's models had predicted they would be. Arrogant, confident, blind. All sectors reporting ready. Admiral Chen's voice came through the quantum-encrypted channel. Operation Revelation is primed. Waiting for your command. Elena took a deep breath, thinking of all the generations that had prepared for this moment. Initiate Phase 1. Across the solar system, humanity's trap began to close. The first sign that something was wrong came when the consortium's forward scouts went dark near Jupiter. One moment they were there. The next, nothing. No debris, no distress signals, no indication of what had happened. Scanning malfunction. Kexthor's officers assured him, the humans don't have anything capable of. 3 more scout ships vanished. Multiple contacts. The sensor officer suddenly shouted. Energy signatures everywhere. Impossible readings. There. Space itself seemed to ripple as humanity's quantum-shifted platforms revealed themselves. What had appeared to be debris, ancient satellites, and random rocks suddenly transformed. Weapon systems that shouldn't exist outside of theoretical physics papers powered up across the solar system. Impossible. Kexthor whispered as his tactical display exploded with new contacts. Where there had been nothing, now there were thousands of defense platforms. Artificial gravity wells began to form, creating a complex network of navigational hazards that split his fleet into predetermined zones. Message from Earth, his communication officer reported, voice shaking. Dr. Elena Rice's image appeared on the main screen. She stood in what was clearly an advanced command center, nothing like the primitive facilities the consortium had observed. High Admiral Kexthor, we warned you to stay away. How? Kexthor demanded. Our observations showed exactly what we wanted them to show. Elena interrupted. Did you really think a species that had survived countless wars, that had clawed its way up from the mud to reach the stars, would advertise its true capabilities to the cosmos? We saw what happened to civilizations that revealed their strength too soon. So we waited. We watched. We prepared. As if to emphasize her words, massive structures began rising from gas giant moons and asteroid bases, shipyards and weapon platforms that dwarfed anything in the consortium fleet. Ships emerged from quantum locks, vessels that seemed to bend reality around them. This is your final chance, Elena continued. Leave our solar system. Never return. We'll consider your intrusion a diplomatic mistake rather than an act of war. Kexthor's pride won out over his growing fear. The consortium does not retreat. Your deception changes nothing. You face the greatest military force in the galaxy. Whatever hidden weapons you possess, you still don't understand. Elena cut him off. We didn't hide our weapons because we feared you. We hid them because we feared what we would become if we didn't learn restraint first. She gestured, and new readings appeared on the consortium sensors. Gravitational anomalies began forming throughout the fleet. Space itself seemed to shiver. Last warning, Elena said softly. Leave. Kexthor squared his shoulders. Thousands of years of consortium dominance demanded nothing less than absolute victory. All ships, battle formations, show these deceiving primitives the true might-off. He never finished the order. Project Prometheus activated. The laws of physics themselves seemed to break. Microscopic black holes winked in and out of existence with surgical precision, appearing inside shield generators and weapon systems. Artificial wormholes opened between ships, redirecting engine plasma into vulnerable hulls. Quantum fields shifted, causing matter to briefly exist in multiple states at once, states that proved catastrophic for solid metal. Full retreat, Kexthor screamed, but it was too late. Humanity's veneer of primitive weakness had been a cage, not to keep humanity in, but to keep the galaxy's predators out until the trap was ready. Now the cage doors were open, and the predators learned too late that they were the prey. As his flagship systems failed around him, as he watched the greatest fleet in consortium history torn apart by weapons that shouldn't exist, Kexthor finally understood the true meaning of humanity's warning. It hadn't been fear that made them hide their strength. It had been mercy. Awakening giants. The aftermath of the battle spread across the galaxy at quantum speeds, faster than light, faster than the consortium's fastest communications. The news traveled in whispers and terrified transmissions. Humanity had revealed its true face, and the galaxy trembled. In the consortium's capital on Nexus Prime, the High Council gathered in emergency session. The holographic recordings played again and again. The impossible weapons, the physics-defying defenses, the utter destruction of their most powerful fleet. How did we not see? First Speaker Zilara demanded, her crystalline form pulsing with agitation. How did we miss such advanced technology? The answer came from an unexpected source. A junior analyst, barely qualified to address the council, stepped forward. Because they didn't want us to see, First Speaker. I've analyzed their deception. It wasn't just technological. It was cultural, sociological, psychological. They created an entire false civilization as a facade. In Earth's Quantum Command Center, Elena Reyes watched the ripples of their revelation spread across known space. Reports flooded in from humanity's deep-cover observers throughout the galaxy. The reaction was exactly as they had predicted: fear, confusion, and a desperate reassessment of everything the galaxy thought they knew about Earth. The Arcadian Empire has withdrawn their exploration fleets from the Perseus Arm, Admiral Chen reported. The collective of 12 has begun fortifying their borders. Everyone scared will come for them next. Elena shook her head. Fear was never our goal, just survival. Tell that to the consortium, Chen replied dryly. Their civilization is in chaos. 10,000 years of assumed superiority, shattered in a single day. On countless worlds, civilizations that had lived under consortium dominion looked to Earth with new eyes. The seemingly primitive world that had humbled their oppressors now represented something they'd thought impossible: hope. The first diplomatic contact came from the Sylvani, a species the consortium had conquered centuries ago. Their message was simple: teach us. More followed. The consortium's empire had spanned 3 galactic arms, encompassing thousands of species. Now, as their power crumbled, those species sought new alliances, not out of fear of humanity's strength, but out of admiration for their patience, their foresight, their ability to resist the temptation of showing their power too soon. In a secure facility beneath the Mariana Trench, the United Earth Council convened to decide humanity's next steps. The chamber hummed with quantum-encrypted communications as representatives from every human world and colony participated. We have a responsibility now, Elena addressed the council. Not because of our technology, but because of how we chose to use it. We proved that strength doesn't have to be displayed to be real. That wisdom sometimes means choosing to appear weak. The galaxy expects us to establish our own empire now, Admiral Chen noted, to take the consortium's place. Then we'll disappoint them, Elena replied. We didn't hide our strength to become conquerors. We hid it because we understood something the consortium never did. True power isn't about domination. It's about choice. The Council's decision was unanimous. Earth would not become the new consortium. Instead, they would do something unprecedented in galactic history. They would share their knowledge, but not all at once. They would teach other species not just about technology, but about patience, about the wisdom of appearing less than you are until you're ready to handle what you could become. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden facilities began to transform. Weapon platforms became research stations. Quantum-shifted shipyards prepared to build vessels of exploration rather than war. The greatest deception in history gave way to the greatest revelation: that humanity's true strength had never been its advanced technology, but its understanding of when not to use it. In the debris field that had once been the consortium's mighty fleet, a single escape pod drifted. Inside, High Admiral Kex Thor recorded his final report. We thought them primitive, and in doing so revealed our own primitiveness. We fought them weak, and proved ourselves weak. The humans didn't just defeat us. They showed us a new way to be strong. The pod's sensors detected an approaching vessel, one of Earth's real ships, not the primitive decoys they'd maintained for so long. As the quantum fields wrapped around his pod, preparing to bring him to Earth for diplomatic discussions, Kex Thor understood at last. Humanity's warning hadn't just been about staying away from Earth. It had been about understanding that true civilization means knowing when to bare your fangs and when to keep them hidden. In their patience, in their willingness to appear weak while building unprecedented strength, humans had proven themselves to be what the consortium had only claimed to be: truly advanced. The New Order. 5 years after humanity's revelation, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The massive chamber of the Galactic Concordat hung suspended in space at the exact midpoint between Earth and the former consortium capital. Inside, representatives from 1,000 species gathered not as conquerors and conquered, but as equals. Dr. Elena Reyes stood at the podium, her hair now streaked with gray, but her eyes still sharp as ever. Before her sat former enemies and new allies, species that had once been part of the consortium's empire and others that had hidden from it in the dark spaces between stars. 5 years ago, she began, we revealed what humanity had become. Today, we reveal what we hope the galaxy can be. The holographic displays activated, showing not weapons or ships of war, but something far more powerful: knowledge, libraries of scientific understanding, philosophical treatises, and technological innovations that humanity had developed during its long vigil. We didn't hide our strength because we feared conquest, Elena continued. We hid it because we knew that power without wisdom leads to destruction. We watched the consortium's empire expand, saw how they uplifted species before they were ready, gave technology to those who hadn't learned the restraint to use it wisely. In the audience, former High Admiral Kex Thor, now the representative of the reformed consortium worlds, nodded slowly. His own people had learned this lesson the hard way. Today, we present a different path. Elena gestured, and new images appeared. Training centers where species could learn at their own pace, research facilities where knowledge was earned through understanding rather than simply given, diplomatic forums where strength was measured not in weapons, but in wisdom. Admiral Chen, now Earth's Secretary of Galactic Relations, stepped forward. We've spent 5 years dismantling the old power structures, not to replace them with our own, but to build something new. The Galactic Concordat isn't an empire, it's a promise. A promise that every species has the right to develop at their own pace, to choose their own path. The chamber erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. Humanity wasn't just sharing technology. They were sharing their philosophy of patient strength, of hidden power, of the wisdom to appear less than you are until you're ready to be more. In orbit around Earth, the quantum shields that had hidden humanity's true civilization for so long were finally powered down. The solar system revealed itself as it truly was, not a primitive backwater, but a shining beacon of advancement. Yet in that revelation came an unexpected truth. The facade of weakness had taught humanity more than centuries of displayed strength ever could. We maintain the warning, Elena announced, bringing the chamber to silence. Not stay away from Earth, but think carefully about power. We learned to hide our strength until we had the wisdom to use it. Now we offer that same chance to others. The Sylvani representative rose, her bioluminescent patterns expressing deep understanding. You didn't just beat the consortium, she said. You showed us all a better way to be strong. In the years that followed, the galaxy transformed. The Concordat's principles spread. Species began choosing to appear less advanced than they were, focusing on developing wisdom alongside technology. The art of patient strength that humanity had perfected became a model for civilization itself. Deep beneath Geneva, in the same chamber where the decision to hide humanity's strength had been made generations ago, Elena stood before the United Earth Council one last time. Her retirement was approaching, and with it, a chance to reflect on the journey. We succeeded beyond our wildest dreams, she told them. Not because we were stronger or smarter than the consortium, but because we understood something they never did. True civilization isn't about showing your power. It's about knowing when not to. Above the chamber, Earth's night sky sparkled with the lights of visiting ships from across the galaxy. Each one carried species learning the same lesson humanity had learned in its long vigil, that sometimes the greatest strength lies in choosing to appear weak until you have the wisdom to be truly strong. The old warning still stood at the edge of the solar system, but its meaning had changed. Now it read in full. Earth stands not as a barrier, but as a teacher. Power without wisdom brings destruction. Come to learn, but come with patience. And in the vast darkness between the stars, young civilizations looked toward Earth, not with fear of its strength, but with hope for what they could become. For humanity had proved that true power wasn't about domination or control. It was about the wisdom to wait, to learn, and to choose the right moment to show your true face to the cosmos. In the end, humanity's greatest achievement wasn't the technology they'd hidden or the empire they'd prevented. It was the lesson they'd taught the galaxy, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is choose not to display your power at all.